advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out at Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
Alrighty. Welcome to episode 14 of the Chillinois Basketball Podcast. Don't ever doubt our loyalty to our fans here, because Noah and I are recording this at 12:15 a.m. on Saturday morning. It's my fault. I had work, but we're dedicated to bringing you guys 2-for-1 in this episode. So a little 2-for-1 special recap preview episode, because we're going to recap the Rutgers game and preview the Iowa game upcoming on Sunday morning, which Noah and I are also very disappointed about. The Illini play Iowa at 11 a.m. in Carver Hawkeye Arena, but we'll get to that in just a bit. The Illini blew the doors off Rutgers in State Farm Center. Actually, a very quiet State Farm Center on Thursday night. I was incorrect. The students are not back yet, so that's probably why we didn't see Tony Bilic. But hopefully we'll see him. Actually, a quick interview from Brad, he spoke on him and said there's no timetable for Tony Bilic at the moment. So I don't really know what the issue is or why we got Tony Bilic on the roster if he's not even going to show up this season. But I was wrong about the students being back. They will be back for the next home game. But it was pretty quiet in State Farm Center nonetheless. The Illini got the job done. 81-55, 26-point victory. It was 27 at halftime. I want to speak about the first half first, just because firstly, and chronologically, that makes sense. But the first half and the second half looked a little different. Noah, I thought right from the get-go, the Illini looked really great defensively. They were leading by 10 at the under 16 timeout. So it was a really quick start for the Illini, which isn't necessarily something we see a lot of. Sometimes the Illini come out and play a little lackluster to begin with, or a little sluggish, which I'm worried about for Sunday. But they came out and hit the ground running against Rutgers. It was impressive from the start. Rutgers knocked in a 3 to start the game, and then it was quickly like 9-3 after that, if I'm not mistaken. And it was just easy basket after easy basket, lots of layups. I think we took too many threes in this game. But there's a stat about the shot chart I want to point out later too. I just want to get your initial thoughts though. From the get-go, it looked like the Illini were in control of this one.
Yeah, I remember they hit that very first three of the game, and I was like, oh no, is it going to be one of those games? And then very quickly, I think the first Illinois point was maybe an Andre layup, or somebody went in for a very, very easy
Eaton
layup.
just drove down the lane. He Euro step 2 guys finished with the left hand, and then Andre was right after that. So
Yeah, and then after that Andre layup, I kind of figured, okay, we got this one in the bag. We're controlling the pace, we're controlling the tempo, so everything's under control. And I don't want to take complete credit, but I pretty much predicted exactly what was going to happen. I predicted a lackadaisical performance, but we'd still get the dub. I predicted a Keaton MVP, which we'll get into that, but I think Keaton played pretty well, all things considered. But it was a very, just nonchalant, middle of the week Big Ten game. I mean, it's what we expected it pregame. So I enjoyed it. A lot of people online were like, "Oh man, this one was bad. This one was a stinker." It's like we won by 20 something points. I mean, how could you say it was bad? It was a very impressive performance in my opinion. I thought a few guys were really looked good, honestly. Tomislav, we talked about that pregame. We were really hoping he would come back and do something, which I mean, he shot 2 for 6 from the three, so it's not like amazing or anything like that, but he showed some signs of life, so you love to see it. There was one point when he'd shot the three, and as soon as he released it, Z was already up off the bench, like he knew it was going in, and so you just love to see that camaraderie. I think when they're both playing good, then they kind of feed each other. So love to see Tommy doing well. I thought that Merck did really, really well. I mean, nothing spectacular from anybody, and I literally predicted that. I mean, I predicted that nobody would be spectacular. We'd go in, we'd do business, we'd get the job done, and we'd leave. That's exactly what happened. Now, do I think it could have been a little bit better in that second half? Yeah. The first half was insane. I mean, 16 points for that Rutgers offense. I'll take that any day of the week. But then that second half, and that's just something Illinois has been going through all year. The Texas Tech game, you just look at these games where the first half they'll look amazing defensively, and then the team adjusts at halftime and comes back, and Illinois doesn't have an answer. And generally speaking, Illinois is able to, at least this year, Brad's able to readjust in that second half and kind of figure out what he needs to do. He stuck Kylan on top and in this Rutgers game, I think Rutgers ultimately just ran out of gas. They couldn't really keep up with our size. But overall, solid performance. These are the games that you need to win by 25 because if you want to end up in the top three in the Big Ten, that's what you got to do. You got to win these easy games and you got to make a statement too. You got to win by large margins so that those seeding in March is that much better.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And it's funny that I was in post-game threads pretty much immediately after the game, and everybody seemed to have the same sentiment. Like the second half looked bad. I mean, just looking at the box score though, Noah, I mean, Rutgers did beat us in the second half, 39 to 38, but we were up 27 at halftime and we won the game by 26. So it's like, I guess our defense got a little complacent, but you can afford to get a little complacent when you start a game and you're up 27 points at the half. Um, Now, if you're Brad Underwood, you don't want to see that. He was yelling at the team in the second half like they were losing the game. So if you're Brad Underwood, you want to keep your foot on the gas. You want to put your foot on their necks and really uh, that do what Michigan does. Beat the team by 40. It doesn't matter if you're up 25 at halftime. Win the second half by 15 or 20. And that's my own. If I had to knock this team for anything, that would be it. But I'll take this performance out of an Illini team that this is kind of, I mean, I thought this would be a tougher matchup than Penn State. Penn State's obviously better than this team, having watched both of them play, but uh, my complaints are very minuscule and nitpicky, I'm saying here. It's hard to feel bad about this one. Really, the only thing you can take away is I guess Rutgers got their offense going a little bit in the second half, and I would only chalk that up to the Illini playing poor defense, really. But if you want to look at the first half performance on defense, or the total game, actually, we're not going to be able, I don't know, maybe you can edit it in here and show a picture of it, but there's a shot chart that was released. Obviously, they release shot charts for every game, but it's just kind of a staple and like a testament of what the Illini are trying to do both offensively and defensively. If you look at it, the Rutgers shot chart, let me pull it up here. It's just absolutely littered with mid-range jumpers and missed three-pointers. Now, on the Illini side, so offensively, their shot chart is completely makes inside within like 3 or 4 feet of the basket, so layups, and then three-pointers. The Illini did not attempt a mid-range jumper, which if you're Tyler Underwood, you're probably like foaming at the mouth right now because this is the exact offense you're trying to preach. Basketball old heads would probably tell you to shoot more mid-range jumpers, but analytically, this offense looks really sound, and it has for the last few games for the Illini. And then their defense just complements that right now. I think the Illini are kind of getting into this stretch. They've knocked their last few opponents off pretty comfortably. We've got a big test on Sunday, which we will still get into in just a bit. But they really look like they're kind of settling in here. And in the past, there's always been games where the Illini win 3 or 4 and then they stumble. And it's like they really shouldn't have lost that game. And then you look back when they get seeded in March, like why are they a 3 or a 4? And it's well, because you lost to Maryland on the road or because you lost to Penn State on the road 2 years ago. They haven't had that game yet. Which Rutgers, I didn't expect it to be that game for them, but you never know with this Illini team historically. So what I'm kind of getting at is like, do you think this Illini team is stronger in the past than other Illini teams have been at this point in the season at least? Because right now you've got 4 guys averaging almost 13 points a game. You've got another averaging 10 points a game. So like you've got 5 guys nearly in double figures. And it's funny that you pointed out earlier. It's like you said nobody looks that remarkable. But like nobody's going to look remarkable when they all score 14 a game and they all play defense pretty strongly. Like we don't need a remarkable player. We don't need a JT Toppin. We don't need a LeBaron Filan to score 25. We don't need a Bruce Thornton. This team is just so good as a team and whole, like as a whole. Uh, I don't. It's hard for me to see a team stopping them right now. We'll talk about Iowa, but I think they're in a really good stretch of games, and this run they've had is pretty impressive. Um, Now, I do want to point out, just because we got to give a little love to our man, Jake Davis. Another Jake Davis game, you could say, as far as players that really exceeded performance, or expectations, rather, with their performance. But Jake Davis, 4 for 7 from three, 12 points again. He had what was he? He had 15 like 2 or 3 games ago. So it's not like he was a season high in to terms of total points scored. But if you look at the stat chart, his plus minus was 28. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he again lights out in that first half. I mean, I think he was what 4 for 4 or something like that. I mean, every time he hits that corner three, I lose my mind. So
The
And it
announcers
was,
finally gave a shout out to Peter Griffin for that one.
yeah,
I
I was just
appreciate it.
gonna say that the announcers shouted out Peter Griffin, and so that made my life complete. But no, it was interesting though, seeing how many mid-range jumpers Rutgers was shooting last night. I was noticing that too. I mean, and they were like these fadeaway, midway. I mean, they were difficult shots too that they were making them. I was very, very impressed. But no, again, yeah, I give a lot of credit to Tyler Underwood. I just want to shout him out because I feel like last year and a couple of years ago, I mean, essentially since he's been with the team, he's been just getting so much hate for no reason. Oh, nepotism. Oh, he shouldn't have the job. It's like we're consistently a top 10 offense every single year. So I don't really see why people complain so much. I think he's doing a great job, and I think, I mean, I think he could easily be a head coach at some lower level program and work his way up. We'll see if that happens. I mean, he seems to enjoy working for his dad, but no, I mean, and just for the record, I do think Keaton is spectacular, just not necessarily in that Rutgers game. I think it was just kind of a lazy game for everybody. But the fact that you can win by 26 points and everybody plays pretty lazy is a very good sign. But I really liked the defense from Jake Davis last night too. I thought there was a couple plays where I mean there was that one fast break, wide open layup that he got vertical on and stopped it from going in, and then we got the rebound. So just stuff like that last year you weren't getting from him. And I was listening to, it might have been Sleepers or it was somebody, and they were comparing, Jake Davis to Luke Goody. And I think Jake Davis just adds a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, I loved Luke. I think every Illini fan loves Luke Goody, but
Luke Goody
Jake,
couldn't play defense.
he couldn't play defense, and I think Jake Davis is a better shooter in my opinion. I mean, when Jake lets go of the ball, I feel like it's going in every single time. And I, he's got that junkyard dog mentality. He's a great player, and he's got one more year of eligibility, so we'll see if I'm assuming Brad wants to keep him around. I mean, but it's like at that point, do you give him a starting spot? What do you want to do? I mean, you'd think his last year he probably wants to start somewhere, and I think he deserves a starting spot at Illinois. I mean, I don't see why not. He's not any worse of a defender than, Keaton or anybody else that's starting. Obviously, you wouldn't start him this year, but next year you'd start him. And so
Yeah.
I'm a Jake Davis fan. I mean, I've been a big Jake Davis fan for the last 2 years. I'm a big fan of his hairdo. Just everything about him. So I'm happy for him that he's finally starting to get some recognition.
I am too, and he certainly has kind of approached that like every time he shoots the ball, you think it's going in kind of a feeling. Not a whole lot of players that I can think of, at least from the Illini, that it felt like that with. Maybe Alfonso Plummer. Every time he shot it, it was like, oh, that's going in. Why'd you give him an open three? But Jake just spaces the floor so well too. His threes are always open because I, I don't know, you've got so many other good ball handlers offensively that they kind of just forget about Jake, and he's always in the corner. That's his specialty shot. So uh, props to Jake. Now, I thought for a second there you were alluding to maybe starting Jake Davis over Andre or Keaton, which we would have had an argument about that one. Keaton, like you said, not his best performance in terms of like output or total points or anything, but I thought Keaton for the first time. I don't know if he's like listening to the draft projections and watching his name fly up boards, but this was the first week that a lot of people had him in the lottery pick, like at 11. I don't know if he's listening to any of that buzz or anything, but when he had that and one where he kissed it off the glass and he gave a little shoulder shrug, I mean, Keaton's got some swag now. Like he knows he's the best player on this team. I like that about him. I would like to see him keep the swag contained because I don't want him to get cocky and be like, "Give me the ball every time." This team plays a lot better when they flow through multiple players. But I like that Keaton's got that chip on his shoulder now, and I'm not sure where it came from. Maybe he's always had it, but it really
Well,
came out.
can we come up with a nickname? I want to call him Keaton Swaggler. I mean, I've been thinking that
I'm
literally. I
okay
mean,
with that.
I'm sure everybody's calls him that already, but Keaton Swaggler is his new nickname now.
I like that, but it was just an episode ago where I forgot to announce that we should probably be calling him by the correct pronunciation of his last name, which is according to news outlets and sports media, it's Keaton Wagler. So we can call
That's
him
the
Keaton.
thing. Everybody else calls him Keaton Wagler, but we call him Keaton Wagler, and that's what sets us apart from everybody else. It's what
Okay.
makes us different.
All right. So we've got Keaton Swagler on the court
We can
now.
call him Keaton Swagler if you want, but it just doesn't
That
sound
doesn't
as
ring
good.
as well. Yeah, I
No.
agree. Keaton Swagler it is. Um, but yeah, he's looking more and more impressive as the season goes on. Um, this is kind of a good transition here, actually, unless you have any closing thoughts on the Rutgers game.
No, I thought it was a solid performance. I mean, I was honestly surprised that Rutgers kind of gave up so easily. I mean, I was looking at the bench, you know how the opposing team will have, that little section of bench, of seats behind the bench. There was nobody. There was not a single Rutgers fan there. So I just feel bad for the program, they're such an iconic classic program and is it a coaching problem? I mean, I don't think it's a talent problem because last year they had the most talent in the league and they still couldn't do anything with it. So it's unfortunate that that program just can't seem to figure it out. I think it is a coaching thing, And you look at DePaul with Holtman. I mean, you're telling me that Rutgers couldn't have offered Holtman a job with their resources? I mean, dude, they could be in the tournament with Holtman easily, easily. So it's just, I don't know. You hope that they can find a new coach and I mean, it's a good job too. I mean, head coach of Rutgers men's basketball, it's nothing to sneeze at. I'm surprised that they can't get something a little bit more a little bit more big time, but it is what it is right now. They're in a downswing and eventually everything comes back full circle, so they'll figure it out eventually. Hopefully. You never
Hey,
know.
man. Steve Pikiell's locked up till 2030-31. So after we lost Jawan Howard and Mike Woodson due to being fired, I'm not too mad about Steve Pikiell being in the Big Ten for a while. It just gives us another team to kind of beat up on year after year.
I would be surprised if he has a job after this year. I mean,
This is a tough year for him, and I know people said that he should have done a lot more with more talent last year. So the argument's still there. But if you're going to fire him after this year, I think they more likely should have fired him after last year because this year isn't like a good representation. It's a rebuilding year for them. So, anyways, I was saying it was a good transition earlier. I know we went on to talk about Rutgers a little bit more, but Keaton Swagler, before we were saying kind of showing that chip on his shoulder, kind of showing that swag now. I'm curious to see how he does. Not his first road game necessarily, but first real Big Ten road game. Carver Hawkeye Arena is no slouch of an arena to play at, and the students will be back. So, assuming they get up before noon, it'll be a pretty loud environment, I'd imagine, in Iowa. Um, so I'm really just to start things off, I'm relying on him, obviously, as the Illini have done all season so far. But I think most importantly in this game, the Illini need to once again hit the ground running like they did against Rutgers. They cannot afford to be walking into that gym sleepy. Um, I know we don't have any like coffee advertisement brands like Sleepers do, but they need to get like some McDonald's or something before the game. Have Petrovic do a Starbucks run or something because they need the caffeine going. They need the energy alive. We cannot see this team come out and go down like 9-3 to start. It'll be too loud in Carver Hawkeye. Bennett Sturts is probably going to have a really good game given every other star for whatever team the Illini play usually goes off against us. So I would expect him to have 30 plus points this game. But it can't be
if
like a
they need
Fred VanVleet.
caffeine, if they need caffeine, you know who they need to call, right? They need to call the man himself who was sponsored by Monster Energy, Matthew Meyer. Get him
Oh,
back on campus, have him distributing out monsters, white monsters specifically, because I think they got some secret sauce in there. And dude, I'm telling you, that could honestly fire this team up, some white monsters before the game, because I guarantee you David Merkovich has never even tasted a white monster. He'd be like, "Oh my goodness, this tastes so good," like Space Jam, and then they drink the secret juice, and then they're out there going crazy. I think it could be a good strategy. I mean, You never know. I think just having Matthew Meyer's presence in the arena alone will help boost your aura.
I don't know if he's going to travel all the way to Iowa for this one. I don't know where he lives now, but
I don't even know if he's alive. I mean, he could literally be dead and I would have no clue. I
I
haven't
think
heard
we'd have
from
heard
him.
about that one. But regardless, I need to see a fast start from this Illini team. It's an 11 a.m. start. It'll be on Big Ten Network again. Please be on Big Ten Network again. Let's see here. Fox. Okay, I'm not mad about that either. But this Iowa team, they're no slouch. Gotta say, I was a little uneducated about this Iowa team previously. I didn't even know they were ranked, but they are 12 and 3, so that makes sense. They are unfortunately for the Illini in a really tough spot of games. They just lost on the road to Minnesota, and then Minnesota stormed the court after, so that can't feel great. Um, Now they're playing the Illini at home in an early morning or early after, I guess, early morning game. Um, and then they have Purdue on the road 3 days later. So if you're an Iowa fan, or if you're an Iowa player, or you're Ben McCollum, the coach of Iowa, you're like, this is a must-win game, guys, because we lost to Minnesota. Obviously, a lot of things could be said for that loss, but I think they probably just were looking ahead at their schedule and they were like, we got this Minnesota team. They fell victim of the Illinois strategy where they overlook teams that they should probably beat. Um, and now, unfortunately for the Illini, we're kind of in the middle where it's like, had they beaten Minnesota, I think this game's a little bit less of a challenge. Um, if this game isn't right before the Purdue game, I think it benefits the Illini as well because it doesn't feel as must win for the Hawkeyes. But I don't really like the spot that the Illini are in here in terms of where this game was scheduled and how the results have fared for Iowa so far, at least leading up to this one. It makes me worry about not whether the Illini are going to come out strong or flat. I think Iowa's going to blitz us right away. And Iowa has shown the capability to shoot the three ball. They do that historically. And Bennett Sturts has shown the ability to light teams up for 25 points on any given night. Uh, I mean, he's a top five draft pick, possibly at the moment, just based on his scoring alone. So, are you concerned about Iowa? Are you concerned about any particular part about Iowa?
Yeah, I am concerned just because of the fact that they did lose that Minnesota game. I didn't like that. That's the thing. I don't even think they're that good of a team, but I just think they're gonna win. Just like this spot is just so terrible for Illinois. We're due for a loss. We've been rolling for the last few games. But honestly, I mean, I don't think that they're an unstoppable team. If Illinois goes in there and plays like they've been playing, they're gonna win. I mean, they're just gonna win. And this could be the turning point for Iowa season where they start to go downhill and kind of become a fringe tournament team. Or if they win, it could be like a Nebraska situation where they just start to surge. So I think it's a crucial spot for Iowa, way less crucial for Illinois. If Illinois loses, it's not the end of the world for them. It's not going to really affect their seeding too much because I think Iowa is going to end up winning a good amount of games later on in the season. But yeah, I don't love the spot for Illinois at all. And it's another one of those situations where you got the one guy that's going to go off for 35 points and are we going to be able to stop him? Can Kylan stop him? Probably not. So you wonder if you even put Kylan on him to begin with, whatever the strategy Brad's going to have and Cameron Crocker, I don't know what they're going to do. It I don't like the fact that it's 11 a.m. There's so many factors going into it that I don't like. I do like the fact that Tommy's been his last performance was a lot better. That's a bright side. You need him to play well. I think we're gonna have the size. I think we'll probably have the athleticism, which is saying something because we're not a super athletic team. I mean, I'm not too sure how athletic this Iowa team is, but when I picture Iowa basketball in my head, I don't picture super athletes. So, and I am curious to see how this new coach is going to be. Because I mean, with previous years with Fran McCaffrey, I mean, he's a good coach. I mean, you're going to get solid games. You're going to get back and forth games. But with this new guy, I don't know. I mean, they seem to be pretty good. Their biggest win, from what I can tell, has been UCLA, which not impressive at all, quite frankly. Just just simply not impressive. I think Illinois' road win against Penn State's more impressive than beating UCLA at this point in the season. Um, I think Illinois is the much better team, honestly. I think Iowa, I think they're overrated. But like I said, I still think Iowa has a very good chance of winning. I'd favor Iowa in this spot just because of the circumstances. And either way, I mean, I think it's going to be a good back and forth game. I don't think Illinois gets blown out. You know, if Illinois loses, I think it's similar to the Nebraska loss. It's some crazy buzzer beater, Bennett Sturt's 3-point shot, whatever. Who cares? But I think if Illinois wins, you could see a blowout. You could see a 20-point win by the Illini if they can do what they did with Rutgers and dominate them in the first half and just crush their spirits. And, that second half, if Iowa just gives up, you could see a real spanking by the Illini.
Yeah, and so I agree with you on your points that it's an 11 a.m. game. We're at Iowa. We don't tend to do well when when the other team has one star. Now the one thing I would give the Illini like a little plus in the like if we had to do a pros and cons, there's a lot of cons for why we don't like this matchup. I would say the one pro is in the past, I'd argue Iowa and the Illini have that's probably Illinois in the last few years, their biggest rivalry, their biggest rival. From the DeMonte Williams getting in Jordan Bohannon's face, that classic picture, the Illini winning the Big Ten regular season title against Iowa. Um, I would say we've played some pretty heated games against Iowa, especially when Luka Garza was there in the past. Now, Ben McCollum, although he's a supposedly really good coach, people were alluding to him as like the Signetti of college basketball, which I don't really subscribe to that notion, but um, Ben McCollum's brought pretty much his entire team from Drake, which great for him. They keep the consistency and you get to coach the same players. Drake did make the tournament. They made the round of 32 last year. They were pretty good. I think they only lost 3 games all season. But do these Drake transfers understand the rivalry between Illinois and Iowa? If would you even call it a rivalry? I would call it a rivalry, but it doesn't feel like they might. That's the one thing I might give the Illini credit for. Some of these players have played Iowa before. Looking at Iowa's roster, I think the only player on Iowa that has played Illinois before would be they got one guy. Let's see. All right, it's going to take me a second to find all. At most, there's 3 guys on this team from last year. Everyone else was from Drake or a freshman. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm not scared of Drake. I'm just simply not. I mean, they can.
Drake, Drake.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not afraid of Ben McCollum. I'm a little afraid of Bennett Sturts, a little bit. But either way, I even if Iowa does win this game, I don't think Iowa's going to end up a top 5 team in the Big Ten. I just don't. I don't think it's their year. I think that they next year could be their year, but it's just so much to ask for a brand new coach, a brand new team in time, I mean, almost a fully brand new team to come in and dominate in year one. It's really difficult. So I think, yeah, I think they're good. Don't get me wrong. I'm impressed with what they've been able to do. I mean, they seem like they got a pretty good offense, but I do think Illinois, at least this year's team, is in that upper tier, that top tier in the Big Ten, where I think there's only, I mean, you could make an argument that Michigan State's in that tier. So if you were to make that, then there's 4 teams in that tier. Michigan, Michigan State, Illinois, and Purdue. And really, I think any one of those 4 teams could, make the Final Four. Michigan State, I don't know how good they really are. I haven't paid too much attention to them. It just seems like maybe it's a Tom Izzo situation where when you have that good of a coach, you're going to win some games. But I don't know if they're as good as last year. They were a pretty dominant team last year. But no, I think this is going to be a good game, a good back and forth game. And if Illinois loses, they lose. Good for Iowa. Iowa really, really needs this win, but I, I think Illinois can get it done if they need to. They can get it done.
Now, before we get to projections here, and I will give a projection for this game, I do want to point out no Europeans on the roster for. Oh, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. They have one from Spain, not necessarily like Eastern European, but their starting center, Alvaro Folgueras, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, transferred from Robert Morris. He is 6'10". I guess he's listed as a forward here. They're one European, but the other factor I wanted to point out, Iowa doesn't have much size. They have a center who's 6'11". He's a freshman. He doesn't play. And then they have Folgueras, who's a junior. He's 6'10". It's not often that you get to look at an Illini game and say, especially this year, and say, I think we can out physical these guys. But if we're gonna win this game, which I'll get to my projection, I'm not even saying we will. But if we are gonna win this game, I think it comes down to will the Illini use their size and will they be more physical than Iowa? Because if they're gonna play the let's shoot a bunch of threes against Iowa game, I think Iowa wins that battle. Iowa forces a lot of turnovers and they shoot the three ball pretty well. They do not play through their bigs very often. And I think between Tommy and Zvonimir and David Mirkovic, if Folgera scores more than 12 points, the Illini have done something horribly wrong because he's not the guy we should be giving points up to in this game. I think Kylan's got a pretty good chance to defend Bennett Sturts. I think Kylan's a good defender still. I know he's been torched a few times this year. But I just think the Illini are going to out physical Iowa in this game. I'm not saying they are going to, but if they're going to win this game, it would be because they out physical Iowa. Obviously, I think they need to win the rebound margin, win the boards or win the battle on the boards. But outside of that, it can't be a 3-point shooting matchup. They did that pretty well against Rutgers. They shot 33%, which isn't great, but Rutgers only shot 27%. I think the Illini need to get it inside to Tommy, which they did against Rutgers a few times. I just would have liked to see them do that a few more times to really get it cemented before this Iowa game. That's really the one thing I think is going to make a difference if I had to point out like make it or break it points for the Illini here. But now that I've made that point, I want to hear your projection because I think my projection is actually going to surprise some people.
Yeah, I think it's a tough environment, tough road environment. Their fans will all probably be there. I mean, it'll, be a pretty packed game. I don't know about sold out, but it'll be pretty busy. Probably not too many Illinois fans, I wouldn't imagine. But what Illinois is going to have to do is they're going to have to dominate the glass. That's really key. And I say that all the time, but it's this game especially. If they're jacking up threes, because trust me, if I was jacking up threes, Illinois is going to jack up threes. You're going to have Merck and Tommy and Z go, oh, you want to shoot that? I'll shoot that. And so if both teams are jacking up threes, you got to get those rebounds. Offensive rebounds are going to be huge this game. I think what Illinois excels at is eliminating 3-point shots and forcing teams to take tough twos. And if you can do that against Iowa successfully, you'll win the game because Iowa relies on the three. And so when you have a team that, and I think Illinois is still trying to figure it out defensively. I think these last few games they've done really well. I mean, you look at the Missouri game, you look at the Rutgers game that just happened. They've been doing pretty dang good. And I forget whatever, Mark Torvik has Illinois as the best team in the country in the last 4 games. So that's pretty impressive. And with this defense specifically, they need to find an identity. You look at Houston and they got an identity. You look at some of these teams and they have a real defensive identity. That's what Illinois needs. Whether it's, Kylan as the top guy or whether it's, revolve around the bigs and try to help them out. I don't care, whatever it is, just make it work. And I think they have been. So it's going to be interesting to see that against a really good offense because you've been playing against some not so great offenses. So I think if they can do it successfully against Iowa, then there's no more talk. It's the truth. It's the real deal. And so it's an exciting game. And it's one of those games where it's going to make or break this Iowa team, and so you wonder if the pressure maybe will get to him a little bit as well. Down the stretch, last minute, tie game, Bennett Sturts. Oh my God, I gotta do it. I gotta, put it on my shoulders. And so I don't know. It'll be a really good game though. I think, final score prediction. I'm gonna say, you know, I do, like I said earlier, I do think Iowa can win this game easily. I think Iowa can win this game. I'm not going to pick them to win, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I think it's going to be close, back and forth. I think it's going to, a lot of people have been pointing out that Iowa has a slow pace and Illinois has been slowing their pace down. So I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I'll go Illinois 73. I'll go Iowa, you know, 70. Maybe they hit a a last second layup or something to make it look closer than it really was. But I think Illinois is going to get it done. I think they're going to win in the free throw line. I think that they're going to win on the boards. And I think they're going to win in the turnover battle as well. And when you win on those three categories, you probably are going to win the game. So that's my prediction. And MVP, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Benham Rickhouse because that boy is Iowa. Just how like Jake Davis was Nebraska, he's Iowa. So I'm going Benham Rickhouse. I'm gonna say 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists
That's
from
a
Ben.
that's a career performance from Ben Homerkaus tomorrow or Sunday. Uh,
Yeah, it's the
don't
Lord's Day, dude. He's very religious, and so he's
That's
just gonna get
a
boosted
good
up.
point. He might have the power of Jesus Christ on his side that game. Don't get mad at me for my prediction here. I'm kind of doing this strategically, and I have a point to make at the end of it, but I think Iowa wins this game. Just looking at it, and then as an Illini fan in my heart and my gut, I don't see this being a game where the Illini get up early for. I think Mihailo Petrovic forgets to do the Starbucks run and further cements himself down the lineup because he forgot the morning caffeine. But I'm gonna say Iowa
They
comes out
got
strong.
Petro running coffee now?
No, I
Oh
was kidding.
my.
I'm making that up. I'm making that up.
Is
Uh,
that a Sahil inside tip?
no, 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 no. He's not their coffee runner. But I'm gonna say Iowa wins this game. They jump out early. The Illini just they make it close, but they just can't get over the hump. I think Bennett Sturts has an all-world performance. He's in the last three, he scored, I think, 22 in all of them. So I'm not expecting that to stop here. Let's say Iowa 77, Illinois 71. Um, now I don't, first of all, I'm not a very good bettor, and when I do bet, I usually lose. So by making that projection, I'm just hoping it actually anti-jinxes the Illini and we come out on top. That's the strategy there. That being said, if the Illini do win this game, which I think they're capable of for sure, they just have to not look sleepy in their first 8 minutes of the game. That being said, if the Illini do win this game, I think it really, like you were saying, it cements their identity. This is one of the last games I'd be worried about until that Purdue game. And if you go into Iowa, beat Iowa, and then we're going to be at the Northwestern game. If you beat Northwestern and then you beat Maryland and then you beat, I think they have one other game. Let's see here. You beat Maryland, you beat Iowa, you beat Northwestern, you beat Minnesota, who actually has been looking pretty good as well, but that game's at home at least. That being said, if you take those 4 wins into Purdue, I don't know, man. I think Purdue's a little bit more frightened of this Illini team. I think they're already a little bit frightened of this Illini team, but you get those 4 wins. It's kind of like what I said before. The Illini in January always have a game where it's like, how did they lose that? And then you look back in March and you're like, wait, we lost to those guys? And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that 11 a.m. game we lost. And now we're a 4 seed instead of a 3 or a 2 seed. I think the Illini lose this one just because history shows they always have one of those games every season. But if they don't lose this one and they win, I'm already on board as a fan. Like I love the Illini, but I'm really starting to believe this team is something special if they win this game. Um, right now, if you look at Evan Mayakawa, another like hard-hitting analyst guy. He's got the college basketball predicted efficiency landscape title favorites. That's like the upper echelon of this graph. You got Purdue in there, Duke in there, UConn in there, Arizona, Iowa State, Michigan. That makes sense. Final Four potential now. You've got Vanderbilt, Illinois, BYU, and Georgetown. Or I'm sorry, not Georgetown, Gonzaga, and then Houston and Michigan State. They're just above that line, and then there's a significant drop off where it goes Alabama, Louisville, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida. If Illinois loses this game to Iowa, I think you have to put them in that Alabama, Tennessee, Florida category, and Illinois has already knocked off Tennessee this year. If they win this game, I think you can consider them a little bit closer to the Duke UConn category. I mean, that's just what the analytics are showing me. And I don't know, thinking about Illinois as like a Duke or a UConn, I know not historically, but for this season at least, that's some pretty high expectations. So, although I'm projecting a loss this game, um, I do think if they win, it means a lot more than if they, well, obviously a win means more, but I think a win here is more significant to the Illini season than a loss, which obviously that makes sense in everybody's head. But what I'm getting at is this could be a really special win for the Illini, especially if they continue to win all the way up to the Purdue game. We've talked about that stretch of games before. I think it's just even more important now that you didn't lose to Purdue, or sorry, you didn't lose to Penn State, which you've lost to before. You didn't lose to Rutgers, which the Illini have struggled with before. Um, Minnesota might be their next big test after this Iowa game. I don't think Northwestern looks too great right now, but uh, I
I
don't.
like the 11 a.m. spot for Illinois actually because think about the 11 a.m. spot for Illinois in the tournament. They lost that, but they were supposed to win it. Iowa was supposed to win this, so I think Illinois is going to go in because Iowa's expect we're going to get a good night's rest and we don't even have to go. We don't even have to travel and this and that and this and that. But what they're not expecting is I'm sure Fletch has got some crazy contraption set up, some sleep deprivation, oxygenation tank, and they're all gonna just like boost the absolute hell out of them. They're gonna come in there just like jacked, ready to go. You're gonna see Kylan just like two things of sage, just like
We need smelling salts, not sage.
no, I mean the Europeans can get the smelling salts. Kylan needs his sage, and he needs to bring it back too. I just worry that after last year, what happened, I worry that Brad was just like, no more sage. You can't do it ever again. But I think he needs to bring it back personally. And this is the game too, because guess what? You're in a foreign environment. So if you're cursing anything, if you're bringing any bad juju, you're doing it at Carver Hawkeye Arena. You're not even doing it at State Farm Center. So I'll leave it there. I don't care. But no, I think it's going to be a good game. But honestly, I think if I'm going coach for coach, I'm taking Brad Underwood in this game. And there's not many Big Ten games this year where I have picked Brad Underwood, but I'm gonna pick him in this game. I trust him. I don't think I'm not scared of Drake. Like again, oh, that's like if Chris Holtman left DePaul and took their whole lineup to Indiana. Like, oh wow, they got, Layden Blocker. No
Yeah.
offense to Layden Blocker. I love Layden Blocker. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, who cares about Drake? So I do think I've talked myself into it. I think Illinois is going to win the game.
Uh,
I think they're going to win the game. I think they're going to show up. They're going to go, yeah, we're not the same as the team a month ago that was, getting blown out by UConn or anything like that. We're here to do business, and it's going to be like last game. Maybe at the first couple minutes, Iowa's looking good, but no, I got Illinois now. I've convinced myself completely.
this is going to be, I think, the first time we've ever made like opposite score predictions. Not that I want Iowa to win.
Didn't
Remember
you
that.
predict Illinois to lose in another game? I thought I can't remember what game
Probably
then.
UConn. I would have picked them. I would have picked UConn over them. That would have
Yeah,
been our first episode.
yeah.
Nonetheless, last question here before we wrap this up. Do you think any of our Balkans had ever heard of the state of Iowa before? Ever?
Well,
Like,
for
I mean,
sure,
like what? There's Iowa City, there's Ames,
Des Moines.
Des Moines. Like they never like it's not a place like you'd come from work to
Isn't
travel.
Drake in Iowa?
They are in Des Moines.
Yeah, so yeah, the more I'm realizing, dude, Iowa doesn't stand a chance.
Like it's
They
not like Zvonimir and Tommy are in Croatia, like planning
Well,
a vacation.
Zavadimir and Tommy probably know about Iowa just because of being in the league for a year and just
Yeah,
for Z 2 years. But no, I mean,
not like
Iowa,
David's like planning a vacation. He's like, let me go to Des Moines. That sounds fun. No, he's gonna be like, let's go to Vegas or let's go to Miami or New York or.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he did just have his birthday, so I wonder if maybe he's still in party mode and wants to.
I wonder if there's any Balkans in Iowa. It doesn't seem like a
Does Iowa State have any European players? Does Drake have any European? I could see Drake's entire lineup being European, to be quite honest. Well,
uh I
I
feel like Iowa State does, but like it's not like it would bring a whole lot of notoriety to
I know Drake had Connor Enright, but he ain't
he's great.
European.
Iowa State has a German and a
Oh,
French guy, but
ooh.
that's not really bringing like Balkan recognition to Iowa.
Yeah, I'm not really digging the French guy, to be honest. So on second thought, leave Iowa State out of it. Unless they want to show up and put on an Illini jersey and root for us, which they can, and they
They're
should,
welcome.
because they got beef with Iowa. And that's the thing with Illinois. We have these rivalries, but all of our rivalries, the other team doesn't look at it as a rivalry. We go, oh, we got a rivalry with Iowa, and then you ask Iowa, who's your rival? Iowa State. Oh, we got a rivalry with Michigan. Oh, who's your rival? Michigan State. Oh, we got a rival with Purdue. Who's your rival? Indiana. Every team that we think that we're rivals of, they don't even care about us. The only team that I think genuinely we have a rivalry with that respects us is Missouri. I think Missouri, if you ask them who's your rival, they'll say Illinois. Because who else would they say? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's another team in the
Kansas
SEC.
probably.
Yeah, maybe that's a good point too. But I think even Illinois is more of a rival, and I think that teams like Iowa and Purdue could get there. I mean, Michigan. I just personally hate them, so I think it's more of a personal rivalry than it is like an actual team rivalry because it can't be a rivalry when you've beaten them fucking 10 times in a row. I mean, come on, give me a break. So, but and same thing with Purdue. I mean, we can't beat Purdue. So is it even a rivalry if we can't beat them? But that's the thing about Mizzou. I think it goes back and forth. Same thing with Iowa. It goes back and forth. We'll win one, they'll win one. So I like the rivalry. And Iowa, last time I checked, they can't beat Iowa State. So maybe they should just make us their new rival because at least they can beat us every now and then. Iowa State seemed to get the best of them. Even in the game this year when Iowa was dominating the whole game, Iowa State still wins it. So hey, I don't know. Maybe they should
I'd
just
like
give us
I'd like
respect.
I'd like nothing more than to see Keaton Swagler recreate that I just want him to like get in Bennett Sturtz's face and recreate that DeMonte Williams Jordan Bohannon photo. It was a great photo and it would be really cool to see like Keaton do that and then us win the game. I'd be like, damn, that Keaton's swaggy now. He's swagger. Uh
Yeah, dude. I'm super impressed with his aura. I mean, the ability to keep cool under pressure and to just literally, I mean, he started the year, I'm sure he was like, oh, shy, nervous kid, dude, he's ready to go. I mean, he could walk into a club right now, throw racks, buy a bottle, buy a table. He's ready to go. He doesn't
well,
care.
he actually couldn't do that. He's 18 years old, so
Well, he could do it in Champagne, don't they? Their
he could
laws are
do it in
different there.
Serbia.
Oh, he definitely could do it in Serbia, bro. Are you freaking kidding me? You could have a middle schooler run shop over there, but no,
Maybe
I
we could
mean,
start like a GoFundMe for like a Serbian nightclub trip for the Illini players before they go to the NBA after this season.
yeah, I really think that Petrovic, I think Petrovic honestly could be a really, really good nightclub owner after he's done playing college basketball. I think he could open up an Adriatic nightclub.
Adriatic. That's a good word there. All right. Well, we got through all of that, which was a lot at now it's 1 a.m. on Saturday morning, but nonetheless, we hope you guys enjoy it. Good win against Rutgers on Thursday and a somewhat nerve-wracking upcoming matchup against Iowa on Sunday. We'll have a recap for you on that one, probably coming out Monday. Yeah, Monday sounds about right. Maybe Sunday night we'll record that, and or maybe Monday afternoon we'll record that. Nonetheless, go Illini in that game. I know Noah and I are split on our projections, but we're both rooting for the Illini at least. We'll hope they get over that 11 a.m. Start time red flag that we seem to have. And then after that, Noah and I will be in Evanston for the Northwestern game following on Wednesday. So exciting times for the Chillinois basketball podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this one and continue to follow along for more content in the future. ILL.
I and I.